Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Janetta, and I am pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube, live or later, and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday service experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter of at UofVA for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Fair. And now here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Johnetta, and welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone who is with me right now in the Zoom room, and welcome to all of you watching on YouTube, whether you're watching live or watching later. Our broadcast date today is May the 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo, right? But before we get started, I want to acknowledge another special day, which was yesterday, May the 4th. Some of you might have seen things on social media. Many people call May 4th Star Wars Day. And anyone who's, watched me for a while knows that if there's a chance to bring up Star Wars, I will. So Star Wars fans gear up for Star Wars Day on May the 4th every year. The day commemorates George Lucas's Star Wars movie set in a galaxy far, far away. May the 4th be with you is a pun on the famous catchphrase that is spoken by Obi-Wan Kenobi to a young Luke Skywalker, may the Force be with you. And one of the reasons that we love Star Wars is because of the spiritual truths that are embedded in the Star Wars universe. So here's a quote from a book called The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. When Obi-Wan Kenobi says, may the Force be with you, he's speaking of the power and energy of life. The Force is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, and it binds the galaxy together. So on behalf of yesterday, May the 4th, may the Force be with you, my friends. So here we are at May the 5th, and our annual theme for 2024 here at Unity of Fredericksburg is well-being. And each month we are having a different focus within that umbrella of well-being. And for the month of May, we are looking at financial well-being or prosperity. And we're beginning today with a focus on abundance, because understanding the nature of abundance is the first step to being in a prosperous consciousness, a prosperous state of mind, and experiencing financial well-being. So if you know me, you know a lot of times I just like to start with a definition or a few definitions. So I go out on the internet, let's look up the word abundance. So not surprising, the first definition that comes up, a very large quantity of something, on abundance. Then the second line says plentifulness of the good things of life, prosperity. So there you have it. Now, in Unity, we refer to abundance as a principle. And it's good for us to revisit. It's like, principle. What do we mean by that in Unity? Principles are divine ideas. So aspects of that which we call God or the universe, divine mind, God mind, they're elements of that. Ideas or aspects of God mind that are present at all times, in all places, and cannot be diminished by happenings out here in the physical world. So, for example, faith is a principle, a divine idea. It's one of the set that we often talk about in Unity, the 12 powers, right? So from your human perspective, you could tap into this power of faith by remembering that the good that is that which we call God is present in every circumstance. Or you can choose to, one might say, misuse your power of faith by believing in something like Murphy's Law. You know, if anything could go wrong, it will go wrong, right? Plenty of people are in that all the time. Or you might be putting your faith in beliefs that you have kind of packed back in consciousness, like, I'm not good enough. You can be using your faith in that way too. It's your choice. Faith as a divine idea is there for us to tap into and use, but faith itself is a divine idea that is undiminished by whether or not we're using it in an unproductive way or a healthy, happy way, right? Faith is fully present and available to us 100% of the time. So abundance is like that. It is a principle in divine mind, in God mind. So one book that helps us with definitions when it comes to these kinds of things is Use the Truth You Know, Unity's Principles and Premises. This is by Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. So let's look and see what he has to say about the principle of abundance. Abundance is the principle lying back of prosperity and plenty. We use the principle of abundance to demonstrate prosperity in our consciousness and in our lives. It is our resource, supply, and our support. Think of that. Abundance in divine mind is your resource, your supply, and your support. So it is, right? So, since abundance is a principle that is present in God mind, and each one of us is the activity of that which we call God in expression, it naturally follows that we in our human lives have access to unlimited abundance in our own consciousness. And as we tap into that, then we can experience unlimited abundance in our outer lives, right? So let's look a little bit more on definitions. So another place that I like to look is to look at metaphysical definitions of terms that we're using. So one of the most wonderful sources from Unity founder Charles Fillmore is called the revealing word. And the revealing word provides us with a metaphysical meaning for spiritual abundance. And here's the first bit of it. Spiritual abundance, ideas in consciousness of the omnipresent supply and support of the one mind. So you can see where Paul Hasselbeck has drawn upon that supply and support. So ideas in consciousness of the omnipresent supply and support of the one mind. So supply and support that is bigger and deeper and wider than the human mind can even imagine. So we feel this, we know this when we look out, say, at a star-filled sky, or we see images that come back from the James Webb Telescope of galaxies in outer space. That is truly awesome. We have that sense of infinite space. Now, the revealing word goes on with its definition on abundance to talk about invisible substance with infinite capacity of expansion when held in mind affirmed, and praised. So there's a key there at the end, all right? So let me read it again. Infinite substance with infinite capacity of expansion when held in mind, affirmed, and praised. So there's something we have to do something, right? We can't just sit there and go, where's my abundance? You need to affirm it, praise it, hold it in mind. The revealing word also always offers bits of scripture, right? Bits of scripture to kind of back up what we're talking about. So from the Gospel of John 16, verse 15, this will be the words of Jesus saying, "All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you." So this is another one of those examples where Jesus does not teach that he's something special and set aside from the rest of us. He shows us that he himself, as a child of God, to use a phrase, as a child of God, has access to all that is God. And then he points out, so do you, my friends. We all, as children of God, have access to all that is in God mind. So we witness this principle of abundance in the universe as expressing without ever running out or ever running low. So we can sense this in our own lives when we are observing nature, right? Say you're looking at a majestic mountain range or you're looking out at the ocean. Here's a quote from our friend who's been a guest speaker here at Unity of Fredericksburg, Reverend Paul John Roach. He's author of Unity and World Religions. He says, abundance is poured from abundance and abundance remains. So no matter how many times we reflect on this idea of abundance by looking out at nature or something, the fact that we are looking upon it doesn't make it less, like there's less to go around. It's infinite. It doesn't ever lose its mojo, so to speak, right? It's always there. So we also witness abundance in the universe as expressing in an infinite variety with endless repetitions. It's just always present. So this time of year, springtime, we see that right outside our doors, don't we? Flowers, just, an infinite variety of colors and shapes and sizes and goodness gracious, even all that pollen flowing around. It just seems to be just infinitely multiplying over and over and over again, right? So we witness this kind of abundance around us. We witness the abundance of the universe. And yet, let's be clear, it can be difficult for us to witness abundance in our own lives, right? We hear about abundance in God, and Unity tells us we are expressions of God, and yet our human eyes show us limits, right? Our human brains are always pointing out to us limits in quantity. Oh, I only have 5 of those. Or limits of time, I only have 5 minutes. Or limits of possibility, well, I can't do this because of that. I can't do this because of that. So here is our core ongoing challenge, our ongoing practice here in this human life as spiritual students. We are 100% divine all the time. And at the same time, we are 100% human all the time with our human brains looking out there and navigating the outer world for us. And so it's kind of natural that in our humanity, we forget about this infinite abundance. We get distracted by traffic or whatever. We have trouble believing that good is there and expressing in every circumstance when we are perceiving conflict, tragedies, any number of challenges. So this is always our space in which we can practice, pivot, coming back to an awareness of our divine nature. And this is not something new, right? This is not something new because reminders about this are throughout scripture in every faith path. They're all there. So in the Unity does tend to reference Christian scriptures, in particular, the teachings of Jesus. So Jesus, there's enough documentation out there that we can say with a great deal of confidence that Jesus lived as a human man. So he was familiar with this struggle that we're talking about. Like, okay, I know there's God, but my toe hurts. How does this all go together? So here's a quote from Jesus from John 7:24. He's really direct, folks. He says, "Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." So with your divine nature, he's really direct. And it's not just in the New Testament. If you go all the way back to the Old Testament, Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight." So there it is again. Your human brain is going to say, oh, that's broken. We don't have enough, all that stuff. And here are wise teachers over and over saying, no, 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 don't pay attention to that. Keep your eye on the prize, right? Here's something a little more recent from Emily Cady, author of Lessons in Truth, who was one of those founders of the Unity movement. And again, she's really to the point, just like Jesus was. She says, our human senses tell us lies. Our human senses tell us lies. So if our human senses tell us lies, how can we realize the truth of something that's so infinite as abundance? How do we do that? Well, my position is we actually really do understand it. And we actually do use it all the time. We're just kind of using it selectively. And we just need a few reminders. So let's look at some examples of ways in which we really do, in our human minds and in our experience, understand abundance. So let's start by looking at the principle of love. Love is a divine idea. Now, is there some limit on your capacity to love? Now, one might say, oh, you immediately have, examples come up. Well, I'm not going to love that person, whatever. But your capacity, and that's you choosing how to use it, but your capacity to love, there are no limits on that. So if you love one child or a pet or a project you do, so when that that, let's say, when you have another child or another pet or another project, have you like used up your capacity to love children? It's like, oh, you already have one. So when the second one comes, oh, well, that one, you only have so much love left, so you can only give it this much. Is that how that happens? Like with pets? Say you have a pet that you love, 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 and we know that pets' lives are not as long as ours, so that pet passes away, and you get another, like, or do you have to like measure out how much love? No, no, we can just make more. We just make more. You have another child, you have another project that you like, you just keep making more because it's infinite. There's no limit on, even as simple as if you love your morning cup of coffee, do you have like a ticker going off of like, oh, well, you've already loved your morning coffee like 5,623 times. So, you can't love that anymore. No, you know, we draw upon this principle of love endlessly without limit. Now, my title for today actually has to do with this and this will show my age because this references a pop song that I heard when I was a young teenager. It came out in 1976 and it was from a group called Andrea True Connection. And it would ask this question, how do you like your love? Ooh, how do you like your love? And the answer in the chorus was more, more, more. How do you like it? How do you like it? More, more, more. How do you like it? How do you like it? So that's my title for today. We have the capacity to make more, more, more love anytime we want to. You try something new that you like, You're loving on that. It doesn't mean you can't love the other things anymore because you have an infinite capacity. You have abundance in your capacity to use the principle of abundance and love on things. And what is the source of all of this love? It's that which we call God or the universe, divine mind. Here's a quote from, it's a Native American quote, unknown source, but it is: abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. Yeah. So here's another example of how we know and understand abundance. How about the principle of life? So again, one of the 12 powers, a divine idea, the energizing, vitalizing, growing, expanding life force. May the force be with you, right? We see it in this the cycle of the seasons. And here again, here we are in spring. It's just life is just bursting forth and bursting forth. Now, can life come to an end? Yes. But that impulse to of life, the principle of life, just bubbles right back up again. So an example that I always think of is a forest fire. One time years ago, my husband and I were traveling through Yellowstone Park in the Wyoming part of it, and there we went through a section that had a pretty severe fire the season before. And so the overall impression was just black, black, black. But if you looked closely enough on the ground level, there were just all kinds of sprouts of wildflowers and all things just popping right back up, using the energy of all of the nutrients that are left there and, bouncing back. So that's the quality of life. And we know this in our own lives because when you cut your finger, most of us know, we just know that it's going to heal. We might put a little bandage on it or something like that, but we don't need to go to the doctor or pray over it and whatever, because it's just going to, the power of life and the cells of the finger are just going to come back together because they know what to do. We know. And so we understand the abundance of this power of life, right? It's a power that has no limits, and Jesus again kind of demonstrated this for us through the teachings of the Easter story, that even death, even like the death of the human body does not limit us because there is life beyond that. So it's just life. This power of life, this principle of life is never ending. There's just more, more, more all the time. And what is the source of this energy of life? It's the universe itself, that which we call God. Here's a quote from New Thought author Shelley Sullivan: abundance comes in many forms. Do not limit your abundance by trying to control how it will flow. Just know that it will come. So here's another example of ways in which we already get this notion of abundance is in the realm of ideas, right? Ideas exist in abundance. We talk about divine ideas. We've been talking about love and life. These are divine ideas. How about our human use of ideas, right? So let's look at the idea of chair. Think about how many different kinds of chairs or seating surfaces there are in the world. Is there a limit to how many times I can use the idea of chair? Every time I want to sit down and have my cup of tea, I'm using this principle, this idea of chair. Is there a limit to how many times I get to do that? No. Am I going to wear it out if I use it too much? Am I going to run out? We always, other parts of our brain is always worrying about, oh, things are going to run out. I don't have enough. But we understand with ideas, it's never ending, more, more, more. And what is the source of ideas? God mind, right? Here's another quote from Paul Hasselbeck on this subject of ideas. When one considers any idea can be used an unlimited number of times by an unlimited number of people to manifest an unlimited number and variety of things without ever being changed. That idea without ever being changed, it becomes clear every idea or principle demonstrates the principle of abundance that we're talking about, right? And when we talk about ideas, another thing that is related to that we understand is creativity, right? So we use creativity in practical ways like, what am I going to do to store my cold weather clothes because it's getting warm outside? Well, we use creativity to figure out practical things. We use it in whimsical ways and profound ways, innovative technology and engineering, whether it's at home or out there in the world. We create with words, music, color. A book that I'm reading right now, it's called Joyful. And the author is Ingrid Fattel Lee, and she talks quite a bit about abundance as a source of joy, and she talks about abundance aesthetic. So in our world, in our lives, we can practice abundance in color, patterns, textures. We can do whatever we want, right? So this is another area where we understand abundance. Here's a quote from Maya Angelou. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So this is abundance, my friends. And what are the raw materials for creativity? Ideas. And what is our source of ideas? Divine mind, right? So we actually do know about this, right? We just forget when we start thinking about our money, our time, things that are broken, things we think we can't do. And, so we're just kind of picking and choosing how we're using abundance. So then the question is, all right, so what can we do to do a better job of recalling abundance through different aspects of our lives? So back to the revealing word from Charles Fillmore, following the definition of spiritual abundance, they then offer steps in demonstrating abundance. First, we must recognize abundance as an idea that is real and has the power to expand. Then we must talk abundance. Choose words representing abundance and thus build up an invisible world of substance. So pay attention to your words. If you're showing up saying not enough, can't, those kinds of things, catch yourself and revise. Use words of abundance. And finishing this up from the revealing word, steps in demonstrating abundance. In this way, we build or form in our mind that which draws to us an abundance of every good thing. And then, of course, they always follow it up with a bit of scripture. This is from Luke 8:18. So pay attention to how you listen. For to those who have, more will be given. Now, here's a point that kind of gets people confused a little bit because the rest of the sentence is, and from those who do not have, even what they seem to have will be taken away. It's like, well, wait a minute. Who's doing this giving and taking? Well, in unity, we would say this is happening in our own consciousness, right? Through the law of mind action. So, which is thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So if you're having gratitude thoughts, you will experience more things to be grateful for in abundance, more. If you are holding thoughts of lack and limitation, not enough, can't do it, whatever, you will experience more of that because you're using this principle of abundance. So it's just important to note that when it comes to abundance, like any other principle, we can use it in wonderful, productive ways, as in being grateful, or we can misuse it, as in I'm going to have an abundance of caution, right? We can surround ourselves by an abundance of things, possessions, to try to help ourselves feel safe. And that's not necessary, my friends. Here's a quote again from Emily Cady from Lessons in Truth. There is already provided a lavish abundance for every human want. A lavish abundance. So what Emily Cady would say is that when we are in our human lives sensing a lack of or wanting more, so, oh, I wish I had more time, I wish I had more friends, I wish I had whatever, what she says is what you are desiring is more of God, because all the good stuff is there in God mind. So what you're really desiring is to experience the divine in a deeper, wider, more wonderful way in a particular idea. And so what do you need to do? Practice in your spiritual practice, right? So we are meant to make that pivot from our human experience of not enough into our divine nature. And just to remind you again, follow those steps that were laid out in the revealing word. Recognize abundance as an idea that is real and has the power to expand more, more, more. Talk abundance. Choose words representing abundance, and this will build up an invisible world of substance. And in this way, we build or form in our mind that which draws us an abundance of every good thing. So watch your words, right? Notice, pause, shift your language, claim God as your source. If you're looking in your little wallet and your brain is saying, I only had $5, pause, catch yourself, rephrase. The universe is my source, not my wallet, right? And just keep practicing. We're going to keep working with this over this month. I do want to mention right now, for those who are local to Central Virginia, well, the next step for us is going to be a workshop on Saturday, the 11th, called A Journey into Abundance. So that'll be our next step. And then we'll be back on the 12th to talk about scarcity and sufficiency. And closing out here today, before we go into our meditation, one more quote from Jesus from the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So we're not meant to suffer and apologize, whatever we are. Jesus is saying, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So as we move into our time of meditation, I invite you to take a few deep breaths. If you wish, you can allow the outer eyes to drift closed. I'm going to begin today with a prayer that comes from something you can purchase through unity.org. It's called the Positive Prayer Wheel. So here's this prayer about prosperity. I open my mind to divine ideas, and I am grateful for this infinite supply. Divine ideas are seeds planted in my consciousness that bring forth prosperity in my life. By nurturing divine ideas, I let go of limiting beliefs and manifest abundance of love, life, and health. I celebrate my prospering thoughts and actions. So right here, right now, I would like for you to perceive the infinite capacity you have in your heart for creating more, more, more love. Over time, over space, you have this infinite capacity as you express that divine power of love. I'd like for you to breathe into the body right now. Do a little scan through the body, starting at the tips of your toes, moving up through the ankles, shins, the knees. As you go, reflect on the infinite capacity for the power of life expressing through every cell of the body. If you bump into something, you might get a little bruise, but your body knows what to do, right? The cells of your body, they understand these divine instructions for life, and they just move right in, clear that bruise up. Might take a little while, that's okay. So just focus on that infinite power of life expressing through every cell in the body as you continue your scan upward through the thighs, into the seat, through the lower abdomen, up through the spine, through the upper abdomen, through the lungs, the heart, up into your shoulders, arms, fingers. Feel that power of life moving through and expressing through every cell of the body. Magically, wonderfully, without limit. Even if something gets, let's say, broken, the body knows what to do to bring itself back together. And if something happens that changes things, that it's not able to revert back, what it will do is create new paths around, new paths of being, new paths of doing. So we continue that scan up through the neck, into the head, into the brain. The brain finds its way around challenges all the time, finding more solutions to challenges that come up in our lives. So this infinite power of life is expressing through every cell of the body, every thought and feeling held in consciousness. So let's just reflect on that together in silence right now. And as we begin to bring our attention back to the current moment, back to the seat, the body in the seat, the breath in the body, we will close our time of meditation with an affirmation. And I like to always put my hand on my heart space when I say an affirmation. So that affirmation is grounded in the body. It's there at my heart space and also in my mind as I speak it aloud. So here it is. I'll say it once and then you can repeat it at home with me a couple times. Okay, here we go. I am one with abundant source and I am grateful. Say it with me at home, friends. I am one with abundant source, and I am grateful. One more time with gusto, right? More. I am one with abundant source, and I am grateful. So I am, so you are, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to hand it back now to our friend, John Netta, who is our service leader today.
Thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our U of VA website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation, or share this video. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.